So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you a couple of chargers from GT Power, as well as a little JetFan that I know some of you may mistake for a little hairdryer, but it's really not. I've actually powered it on already, and it really did take me by surprise. So stick around. I'll show you what these two chargers are all about and what that guy can do. All right, so we're going to kick this off with the X2 Pro, which is the 400 watt twin charger. This is a fairly decent charger. Obviously 2-channel, as you can see here. It's got a couple of really cool features on here as well, and we'll talk more about those as we go through this. Here are the specs for this charger right here. You can pause the video and have a read at those. It's also got dimensions and things like that. So you can charge this up, I think, a maximum of 12 amps per channel. Which is pretty decent. Like for most people, 12 amps is more than enough. Of course, it works between 100 and 240 volts, which is great. It's also got DC, 11 to 26 volts. Discharge current, 1 to 3 amps. And then it's got 12 amps times 2 in the FBDIS mode, which I don't know what that is. And you've got a charge power 200 watts, DC max 400 watts. So that's essentially the main specs of the charger. Some of the features here, you've got dual channel charging, you've got a fancy light on the front, which kind of like changes colors and that depending on what it is you're doing. This FBDIS mode, it's also a tire warmer, so it basically works as an external power supply where you can actually hook up a tire warmer to this. And then you've got QR code and an app. Okay, we'll start with these two right here. There are some QR codes on the back of this right here. These QR codes actually just take you to the app for the actual charger itself, which is great. It's a good way to sort of get the app. But I don't know why they need to advertise that on the front of the box. When you open the box and have a look inside, you get the manual, which is important. You get the charger in a plastic bag, and you get your power cable, and that's it. The rest of it you can chuck out. This is the charger as it is. There are no cables or balance leads or anything that come with this charger, so I know some of you are probably going to be asking, but that just plugs into the back there, and then of course you've got your DC out over here. There's also a USB port back here, which I believe might be for like firmware updates and things like that. They don't give you the USB port with it either. So essentially that's the charger right there. Now in here you're going to find some instructions. This FBI, whatever mode is that they were talking about, I can't find any information on that or about that in the manual. I've tried to also look it up online and even on their website to actually tell me what this mode is, what does it do, and I can't find any info. So I'm as blind in this as you are. I'm sure someone out there has figured it out, but yeah, I have not been able to figure it out myself. There are 2 more QR codes here, and I thought, aha, this is the QR code that's going to tie the charger to my phone, kind of link it up and talk to it and whatever. But no, this is just more QR codes for the app. There's no, oh, and there's 2 more little ones on the front here as well, which makes no sense. Like, why do I have 3 sets of QR codes to find the app? And I do have the app on my phone, which you know, it's fine, but I can't, it doesn't do anything. Like, I can't connect to the charger. So it kind of defeats the purpose of having this app gizmo hooked up when it doesn't actually talk to the charger. I can't really do anything with it. So we're off to a bit of a rough start here with these chargers, but I have tried it, and the charger by itself works really well. So let me boot it up and then we can actually see how it all works. Right, so now we're pretty much ready to go, but before we actually start, I want to get rid of this plastic film that's on the top of the screen. Oh, come on. There it is there. You're supposed to take that off. Look at that. Perfect. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, hoping you guys can see what it says. So you got lithium battery mode right there. We can scroll across either left or right using the plus and minus buttons. And now you've got NiCad or nickel metal, you got lead acid, you got DJI, You got user program, cell meter, save data, load data, which I never use. Program, I've never used. I mean, you can go into program and you know, you can do your LiPo cutoff so you don't overcharge your batteries, for example. Lithium high voltage cutoff. There's some parameters and some things like that, like temperature, waste time, discharge 15 minutes, safety timer. So if you have a battery that's like a massive battery that you're going to charge up, let's say you've got something that you normally use as a power source out in the field, like a 10,000 or a 20,000 LiPo battery, something that's going to take a really long time to charge, and it exceeds the timer that you've got set on here. So at the moment it's set to 120 minutes, then the charger will actually stop after 120 minutes and you'll need to start the charge cycle on that battery again. So that's essentially what this is. You can turn it off, you can increase it, decrease it. It's a safety mechanism. Like I said, it's just parameters. Same thing with the capacity cutoff. So if you're charging, like this is set to 10,000 milliamps, I don't have any batteries that are that big, so it's never going to exceed that. But if I, for example, didn't want to you know, risk charging more than 6,000 milliamps on some of my batteries, and I think the biggest ones I have are about 8,000 from memory, for some 4S's, you know, I can set this to whatever number I want, and once it reaches that milliamp, it will stop, and then it'll get me to go back and start the charge cycle again to top up the rest of the battery. So that's really what this programming thing does. The beeper, you can have the beeper on or off. Essentially, the key beep is when you're pressing this, it's always going beep. I've turned mine off already. And then you've got the buzzer for when you finish charging, which is something that you probably want. Input, voltage, factory reset, blah, blah, blah. So you get the picture. All right, so internal resistance tester, lithium battery mode, this is where we want to be. We're going to go in here. We've got LiPo balance. Again, we can scroll left or right here using the plus and minus buttons to get into, why is it not? Get in there. Here we go. Get into discharge, charge, FB, DIS mode, whatever that is, storage, repair, which is an interesting one. I've not seen this one before. And then of course, balance charge again. Hit enter, you can adjust your amps, you know, go up or down. We can go and change our voltage, go up or down, and that's pretty much it. And whether we want to switch to LiPo or LiLo or live voltage, whatever mode we want to, whatever type of battery we're charging or discharging, we can set up there. So obviously, if you've got batteries that have an XT60 connector on them, this will just plug straight into the charger, and then your balance lead will plug into the bottom here. You can get balance boards if you want to, and then just plug this into the right port in the balance board. If you don't have batteries that have XT60s, for example, like I do here with my XT150 connectors, just make yourself a little adapter. So in this case, I can plug this guy in here like so, and then I can plug my battery in, or vice versa. I can plug this into the battery first and then plug that in, whichever way you want to do it. And then your balance port will go in here, and it'll start at the bottom. So go at the very lowest pin, plug that in, and hopefully this all works well. Okay, so now I can start charging my battery. It's as simple as that, like every other charger out there. And then if you hit the plus button, you can see the voltage of each individual cell there as it goes up. And then once this thing is done, it will beep at you and let you know that it's all finished, and then you can go and unplug your battery and it's ready to be used. So essentially that's how this thing works. Now as far as the app goes, unfortunately, yeah, that's something that I've not been able to get going. It's a bit frustrating, a bit disappointing, but as a charger, this works perfectly fine. I don't see an issue with this particular unit, you know, to do the function that it needs to do. I'm pretty happy with the little use that I've had with it so far. It's just a shame that the app doesn't work. Hopefully they'll bring out an update for that or something, and I'll get that working in the future. But you know, I'm not really fussed about it. It's something that if you're buying this charger for that particular feature, then probably stay clear of this particular one. Unless of course I'm doing something wrong and there is a trick to this. But if you're buying it for, you know, its application, which is to charge and discharge your batteries, and you don't really care about the app feature, then yeah, I think this will work just fine, like a lot of other chargers will. All right, so now we're going to move on to this one, which is the X4Mini 2. So this is a quad charger. It's also 400 watts, so it's not going to pump out quite as much power as the twin charger, but it still gets up to, I think it's 10 amps per channel. So that's 10 times 4, which is pretty good, which for most people, especially if you're not, you know, charging huge batteries, this is going to be a really cool charger to have because, well, you know, you're going to charge 4 times faster than your regular charger. So getting into the box here real quick, we've got the charger wrapped up in some plastic. We've got some stickers, or a sticker, which is not bad. Everybody likes stickers. And then underneath here, if I can get to it, we have another power cable and of course our instruction manual. We can get rid of everything else, including the bag. And there is our charger there. So we've got 2 ports on this side. Now, the only catch with this particular one is that you can only charge up to 4S batteries. So if you've got a bunch of 6S's or 5S, well, anything above 4S really, and you want to charge them, unfortunately this one's not going to be able to do it, which kind of limits the options of batteries that you can charge. However, for the majority of people, I think you're going to be okay. I didn't start getting 6S batteries right up until I started getting heavy into some of my jets. 6S single battery packs are great for RC cars as well, but I found that I get more versatility from having 2 3S batteries because I have trucks like, they're just off camera at the moment, but like the Savage, and the Hebao truck, for example, that have saddle style battery compartments where you actually have to run 2 3S batteries. Those particular trucks, you know, a charger like this would be totally fine. And of course, you can always get like a twin charger like that X2 Pro to do your 6S batteries if that's something that you want. So that's always an option, but at least you can do 4 at once with this particular one. So let me power it up. I'll show you how this one works. It's very similar to the other one, so we'll breeze through this really quickly. Right, now we're powered up, we can actually see what's going on. Hopefully you can read the screen on this one as well. We've got a little battery type, which is LiPo. Now the select channel button is actually on the far left, which is kind of confusing because normally this button is in the middle, and on this charger it's over on this side. So you can see the little LED light here telling you that you're working on this port. You switch over to this one, and then this one, and then this one, like so. I'll actually bring it back to one of these on this side because I'll plug a battery in here. So we've got battery type, we've got LiPo. So if we scroll minus or plus, we can get into lithium ion, lithium high voltage, lithium ferrite, the PB, nickel metal, NiCad, load data, save data, cell meter. So for those of you who don't know what a cell meter is, it's basically just to check the voltage of your battery. So if I plug this in here, just like so, and you don't need to have this plugged in, and just hit enter, it should give you a voltage readout of the cells of your battery. So you got a total volts of 3.57, and each cell at the moment is showing 3.78 volts, which is pretty good. This battery is in storage charge, so if I unplug, that should pretty much read 0, as you can see there. So getting back out of this, we can go into settings. So again, parameters and things like that that you can set like we did with the other one, and then back to LiPo or battery type. So we hit enter on this one. We've got LiPo storage, LiPo fast charge, which you never use, LiPo balance, which is what you want to use, LiPo storage, and LiPo fast charge. So this one's really interesting because it does not have a discharge function. I don't know how important that really is for some people. It's probably one of the catches with this particular charger. The X2 Pro has it, but this one does not, and I'm not entirely sure why they didn't include it. They have LiPo fast charge, which nobody uses, and you should never use that. You got LiPo balance, which you should always use, LiPo storage, which is great, but that's it. So anyway, so if you want to charge this one, it's pretty straightforward, just like the other one. We'll plug it in here. We'll plug our balance lead in here. Now, unfortunately, because this is only up to 4S, you cannot plug a balance board into this charger. Like you can't have a balance board on each one because the balance boards go up to 6S. So the plug will be a lot bigger than what you can plug in here. If you want to get creative, you can probably modify one. But alternatively, if you've got short cables like this, where it might be a little bit cumbersome to kind of put the battery balance lead cable in here, you can probably just get extensions for your batteries and just have an extension plugged in there. But alternatively, this is essentially how you would charge your battery. You would just plug those two connectors in there, LiPo balance, you set your amps. So in this case here, we've got, what is it, a 5200? Yeah, well, 5500. So we can charge, oh, I had it right. We can charge a 5500 there. This is a 2S, so we're going to go down to 2S, press and hold, and press enter to start charging. So same as the other one, you press the plus button and this will give you the voltage of each individual cell as it charges up. And then you can press the enter button and that'll bring you back to the main screen. And that's it. So hopefully that's everything cleared up for these particular chargers. Now I'm going to show you the JetFan, which I'm actually pretty excited about because that one is something that really took me by surprise as well. So yeah, that's the X2 Pro Mini. Okay, so closing out this video, we have this little JetFan. And before we get stuck into it, I do want to tell you just a little story here, because when GT Power reached out to me to do these kind of like reviews or unboxing of their chargers, I was actually looking for a second charger. Not that there's anything wrong with my current one, but I just wanted something extra, because sometimes when I plan to go out and do some flying or do some bashing with my cars, I have a whole bunch of batteries that I need to start charging the day before, and sometimes I find myself charging a day or two prior to the actual event, to when I go out and do my thing, because my twin charger can only do so much. So to have a couple of extra chargers on hand, I think this is going to be a big help. So big shout out to GT Power for sending those out. But then of course they also offered to send out this little JetFan. And I've got to be honest, I thought, oh, this is probably just going to be a bit of a gimmick. It's not going to be that great. You know, why are they sending me this? But I'm actually really glad that they did, because this kind of blew all my expectations out of the water. Now, this is not going to substitute an air compressor, right? So for those of you who are thinking, oh, it's not, you know, is this going to be as good as an air compressor? It's not, okay? I'll be straight out with you. But it can blow your dust and leaves and things like that off your cars after a bash session, especially if you're out and about, maybe just grass clippings and things like that, and you can just clean your car up before you put it in your actual car and get it all dirty. So I think this is actually a really nice product. They come in a couple of different colors, or a few different colors actually, and they have a variety of uses as well. And they're pretty well featured. So one of the biggest difference that I noticed with this particular product versus the chargers is that straight away, you know, the packaging's a little bit different. The whole thing is just a higher quality, and the weight of this is actually pretty heavy as well. So straight away I knew that this wasn't just going to be some plastic little toy thing. It's going to be a little bit more serious. So you can see that the whole unboxing experience is a little bit different. It's a bit Apple-esque the way that they've done this. You've got your manual right on top here. It comes in English and also I think Chinese on the opposite side. The instructions are kind of roughly translated, so you'll get the idea, but there is one thing that I couldn't quite figure out, and I'll show you what that is when we get to it, because I managed to eventually figure it out. There's a little piece of foam on top here, and then that's the unit itself just there. Now, as I said, I can't really convey this on camera, but this is actually heavy. It's got some weight to it. You can see that it has like a really nice kind of metal fan and everything there. That's the back. And then this is the front. It's got this really nice thread on there because there's a little nozzle that goes on the front of it as well. So we'll pop that aside just temporarily. There's a little box in here as well. In this box, I'll get rid of this one as well. You get a couple of bits and pieces. So this is our nozzle. which we can put on straight away actually. So this just clips right in there. And you can see that this is really nicely done. Like, it's quite precise, so there's no like cross threading or you have to fiddle around with it. It just goes in real nice and easy. You get a lanyard which goes onto the back here, and then you also get a USB Type-C cable with a USB Type-A, I think, on the opposite side. So I haven't even opened this because I've got a few different USB Type-C cables and I've already charged this guy up. So essentially that's the unit there. That's how it all sort of looks. You've got, this is basically your on and off for the fan, but this is your power button underneath here. And then you've got your charging port just there. You've got these two LED lights which actually act as like a torch light, and I'll show you how they work in a sec. And then you've got some LED indicators here to indicate the power output that you've got on the fan. So by pressing and holding this button, we're actually turning it on. So you can see you've got my indicators on there. Now I think by default this should be set to where I turn it on and I have to hold it in order for the fan to work. So on, off, on, off. Now you can override this. You can press that, hold it, and then just push the power button on the bottom here. And now it stays on, and now it stays off. Now it stays on, now it stays off. So essentially that's how that works. If you want to alternate between your power output, so this is full blast. You get the idea, right? So essentially that's how that works. Now, to turn these LEDs on, this was the challenge, because the manual says whilst it's on, press and hold the power button or whatever. But if you press and hold the power button, it actually just turns off. And if you press and hold the power button here, well, that just turns the fan on and off. It doesn't actually turn the lights on. So to do this, and I'm hoping that I don't mess this up on camera now. So now you've got your power on, right? What you do is you press this button up here, and then you press this one down here. There we go. All right, now I've got my LEDs. Now these aren't super bright, but it's just a really weird way to turn these LEDs on and off. I don't know why they couldn't have just put another switch somewhere, but that's how the LEDs turn on. Now to turn them off, same principle. I mean, you can just push that button, I think, and that turns everything off. Oh no, there you go, it just turns off the lights. Yep, still got that on, so there you go. So that works like that. And then if you just press it once, you can reduce your power output just there. So full blast gets rid of that, no problem, right? So it's got enough power to do basic work. So if you want to just clean your car from dust and debris and things like that, but it's not going to give you a super clean car. Like, you're still probably going to need an air compressor, especially if you got sticky mud and dirt and that sort of thing. But to give it a quick dust off before you actually put your car in the car, I think these little fans are fantastic. I'm really glad I got one. I probably wouldn't have got one otherwise, because I really didn't know too much about these, and I'm really impressed. I mean, the build quality, the way that this thing is just done, and how well it works, yeah, I'm pretty impressed. And there we go, that wraps up this unboxing of the X Pro 2, the X4 Mini 2, and the little JetFan from GT Power. Again, a big shout out to GT Power for sending these products out for review. I really do appreciate it. And I know that it's been a little while since I've uploaded something here on the channel. I'm hoping to be a little bit more consistent going forward once again. I do have some new product coming in, and I've got some more content lined up, so please do stay tuned. Don't forget to hit that like button before you go. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and check out the video description links for where you can sort of see one of these. Check out the GT Power website and get some more info on them, and of course follow me on socials as well. That's it from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll be speaking to you all next time. Yeah, I almost forgot. I've got to take this little plastic out as well on this one. This one doesn't give you a little tab to grab onto, but it's so annoying that it's kind of like all bubbly, so you have to kind of like get rid of it. At least I do. Maybe some of you don't. But I'm gonna try and get it. Oh, can I get it even? I might need a little blade actually. Let me see what I can do. I think I might be able to get it with the blade. Aha. Ah, it was stuck underneath. So it was stuck underneath, the sneaky bugger. Here we go. Now I can actually grip it. Yoink. Got it.